Bam! The library door slammed so loud I nearly spilled my coffee, and trust me, if I'd known what was about to walk in, I would have locked it and called it a day. They say life doesn't give you warning labels. You don't get a neat little sign taped to your front door that says, "Hey, heads up, your whole world's about to tilt." No, it sneaks up on you in the middle of the ordinary. That Tuesday morning at Maplewood Public Library was supposed to be just another blur of overdue returns, coffee gone lukewarm to fast, and me muttering under my breath about how no one ever puts the donated books in order. Same old, until it wasn't. I'm Claire, 38, widow, librarian, professional avoider of unnecessary drama. This place, my safe zone. Books don't argue, they don't lie, and they don't leave. They just sit there waiting, exactly where you left them. After my husband passed, that kind of predictability was all I wanted. Quiet, controlled, normal. And then the door chimed. I barely looked up, figured it was Mrs. Callahan coming back to ask why her library card kept mysteriously expiring when, in reality, she just refused to update her address. But no, it wasn't her. It was him. Tall, neat, pressed shirt that looked too expensive for Maplewood, and this calmness that didn't belong in a small-town library. It wasn't confidence exactly, more like a stillness. The kind of stillness you notice right before something happens, like that breathless pause before a thunderclap. I told myself not to stare, but he didn't browse the way most people do. No hesitation, no scanning the shelves like he was killing time. He went straight to the rare books section, which, by the way, is basically my baby. That aisle's my kingdom. And he went there like he already knew what he was looking for. When he asked about the Forgotten Letters of Winter, I swear my hand almost slipped right off the binding. No one, and I mean no one in this town, even knows that book exists. Hell, I just reorganized that shelf at sunrise. My voice came out steady, but my insides, doing somersaults. Careful with this one, I said, trying to sound casual. He didn't smile, didn't joke, didn't flirt, just gave this tiny nod, like he was agreeing to rules I hadn't even spoken out loud. That was the first moment I realized this wasn't some random passerby. He fit here too quickly, too neatly, like a puzzle piece I didn't remember losing. And then he kept coming back, every day, always the same aisle, always the same calmness that didn't match the fluorescent hum of our little library. And me? I tried to brush it off. He's just a reader, Claire. People are allowed to like books. Stop acting like you're in some Lifetime movie. But deep down, I felt it, that pinch in my stomach every time the door chimed, that weird awareness of where he stood, even if I wasn't looking. The strangest part, he never overstepped, didn't ask personal questions, didn't hang around my desk, didn't try to get close. But somehow, he was always there, fingers grazing spines like he was memorizing them, eyes darting to the clock, sharp and calculating, though he covered it with that smooth exterior. And when people got too close to him, I noticed the way his grip tightened ever so slightly, like he was bracing for something no one else could see. One night, I stayed late cataloging. Library empty, lights dim, just me and the smell of old paper. That's when I heard the soft click of the door latch. I spun around, and there he was, calm as ever, like walking in after hours was the most natural thing in the world. Late night? He asked, voice low even. I swallowed hard, clutching the journal in my hands like it was a shield. Just finishing up. My voice cracked, betraying me. He stepped closer, not close enough to touch, but close enough that I could feel him. Some things are harder to notice than others, he murmured. But once you do, you realize they matter more than you thought. Tell me why. My heart stopped right there. Like, what does that even mean? Why say it like that, in that tone, with those eyes? I wanted to ask, but my tongue froze. And then he left, just like that. No goodbye, no lingering glance, just gone. That night, walking to my car, I felt ridiculous, like a teenager overanalyzing a crush. Except it didn't feel like that. It felt heavier, like I'd accidentally stepped into something I couldn't back out of. I told myself I was being dramatic, that I'd wake up tomorrow, laugh it off, and shelve it under random encounters. But deep down, I knew better. Some meetings aren't random. Some people don't just show up. And him? He wasn't here for the books. Not really. You ever have that nagging gut feeling that you can't explain? Like you're walking down a street you've known all your life, but suddenly the shadows feel different. That's how the library's been ever since he showed up. Same shelves, same smell of paper and dust, but now every corner feels loaded, like the walls are listening, like the silence has teeth. I kept telling myself not to read into it. I'm Claire, librarian, grown woman, not some heroine in a paperback mystery. Still, I couldn't shake the memory of his voice from that night. Some things are harder to notice than others, but once you do, you realize they matter more than you thought. Like, what was that even supposed to mean? Who talks like that? The next few days, he kept coming, always quiet, always deliberate, and every time the bell above the door chimed, my stomach dropped like I was strapped into a roller coaster I never agreed to ride. I tried to distract myself with cataloging, shelving, even small talk with the regulars. But no matter what I did, I could feel him there, watching, waiting. I couldn't tell. Then came Thursday, late afternoon. Library mostly empty except for a couple of high schoolers pretending to study while giggling at their phones. He walked in, no surprise there, but this time, he didn't head straight for the rare books. Instead, he lingered at the circulation desk. My desk. Quiet day, he said. Just like that, like we'd been having casual conversations for weeks. I forced a smile. It usually is. That's kind of the point of a library. He tilted his head, studying me in that unsettling way of his, like he was flipping through a book only he could read. Do you like it? The quiet? Such a simple question, but it hit me harder than I expected. Did I like it? Or was I just hiding in it? I laughed it off, because what else was I supposed to do? Better than chaos, that's for sure. He didn't smile. He never really smiled. Just that same small nod, like I'd given him a clue he was looking for. Later that evening, after closing time, I stayed late again. The kids were gone, the lights dimmed, and the hum of the air conditioner was the only sound left. I was halfway through a stack of journals when I heard the unmistakable sound of footsteps between the stacks. My breath caught. I was alone, or at least, I thought I was. I called out, voice too sharp for the quiet space. Hello? No answer, just silence. Heavy, deliberate silence. I set the journals aside, heart hammering, and followed the sound toward the rare books section. Each step echoed louder than it should have, my pulse sinking with it. I turned the corner empty. The aisle stretched out in front of me, neat and undisturbed. And then, looking for something, I nearly jumped out of my skin. He was behind me, not in the aisle, not where I expected. Behind me. My laugh came out shaky. God, you scared me. What are you doing here? We closed an hour ago. He looked at me calmly, like my panic meant nothing. Some books aren't meant to be read in daylight. I froze. I didn't even know how to respond to that. Who says things like that? It sounded crazy, poetic, dangerous all at once. And then, just as quickly, he shifted. You lock up around 10, right? His tone was casual, like he was asking about the weather. But how did he know my schedule? I never told him. I wanted to press him, demand an explanation, but the words stuck in my throat. Instead, I muttered, yeah, 10. He nodded once more, as though that confirmed something for him. And then he left. Just left. That night, lying in bed, I couldn't stop replaying it. The footsteps, his sudden appearance, the way he knew my hours. I kept trying to convince myself there was a logical explanation, but my gut said otherwise. Something's off about him, and whatever he's doing here, it's not about the books. He's getting closer, too close, and I don't know whether I should be afraid or curious. You ever notice how some things don't make sense until suddenly they do? Like all the little moments that used to feel random start clicking into place, too neat, too exact. That's how it was with him. The mystery man in the pressed shirts. The one who never smiled, never lingered, but always felt too close. For weeks I kept telling myself I was imagining it, that he was just some quiet guy with a weird love for rare books. But then the cracks started showing. He knew things he shouldn't. My schedule, the way I shelved journals. Even the night I stayed later than usual, he was already there, like he'd been waiting for me. By Friday, the tension had stretched so thin, I swear the whole library was holding its breath. Rain tapped against the windows, thunder rolling low, when I spotted something on the rare books table. A leather journal, pages open. I hadn't put it there. At first, I thought it was one of our donations, but then I saw it my name, written in neat, steady handwriting, page after page, details about me, my closing times, the way I circled the aisles before turning off the lights, notes that felt too sharp, too intentional. My blood went cold. And then his voice, smooth, calm, too calm. You weren't supposed to find that. I whipped around, and there he was, standing in the doorway like he'd been part of the storm all along. "What do you want from me?" My voice cracked even though I tried to sound steady. His gaze didn't waver. "Not what you think." "Then what?" I snapped. My chest felt like it was caving in. His next words sliced through me. "Your husband." I swear the floor tilted beneath me. My husband, dead for years. The wound I'd buried under coffee cups and catalog cards. "What about him?" I whispered. The man's jaw tightened, and for the first time, his calm cracked just slightly. "He wasn't who you believed, and neither am I." Lightning flared, and for a split second, the truth hit me harder than the thunder outside. The resemblance subtle, but impossible to ignore. The same set of the jaw, the same intensity in the eyes. "No," I whispered, shaking my head. "That's not." "It is," he said softly, voice heavy with something almost like grief. "I should have come sooner, but some truths can't be told in daylight. You had to be ready to see me." And suddenly, every strange thing made sense. He wasn't stalking me. He wasn't haunting the library for books. He was the unfinished story my husband never told me. The blood tie he left behind. My throat burned. I didn't know whether to cry or scream. All I knew was that the quiet life I thought I'd built wasn't mine anymore. It was his shadow, his secret, his face standing in front of me. He wasn't a stranger at all. He was my husband's brother. For 10 years of marriage, I lived with the belief that my husband was an orphan, a man who had cut ties with a painful past, someone whose family had long been lost to tragedy. We never spoke much about it. I never pressed, and he never offered. 5 whole years of his passing, building a life without him, chasing my dreams. I thought I knew every corner of him. But in that one shocking moment, everything cracked open. The man standing in front of me wasn't just some shadow pulled out of nowhere. He was the ghost of a family I had never known existed. The living piece of a truth my husband had buried so deep I hadn't even sensed it. Suddenly, the lies, the silence, the unfinished edges of my husband's story, they all made sense. And now, whether I wanted it or not, his story wasn't just his anymore, it was mine too. Every secret, every scar, every betrayal that came with this man's presence was about to unravel the life I thought I understood. The end.